to this live stream. I have here my beautiful wife. Say hi, boo.
Hello, everyone.
This is my wife, Acti. I got her from a very special place, and I'm so lucky to have her. Acti, why do I love you so much? Can you tell us why?
I don't know. I
Why am
don't
I so lucky?
love me so much, but I love you so much too.
Why am I so lucky?
I'm lucky too. We're lucky we found each
Mm. I'm still waiting for you to wake up and be like, ugh.
other. No, yeah, I love you with everything.
Aw, that's cute. All right, so yeah, this live stream is going to be interesting. We have our resident psychologist with us. Acti is going to break down what's going on between Jada and Will. So we don't usually, at least on my channel, I talk about a bunch of different topics, but I don't usually talk about celebrity gossip, relationships with celebrities and stuff like that because my channel is more academic. But I find a lot of merit in having this discussion, and I find it interesting because celebrities, good or bad, have influence on people, and they make people think differently about different topics like marriage. So I think one of the most public marriages that we've had in at least American culture for a long time is Will and Jada, and they cause a lot of conversation regarding what's going on with them. And I think it's important to have this conversation because us as a married couple, we're going to face, struggles, ups and downs.
Yeah.
We're going to grow together, have triumphs and tragedies. So I think it's good to get this out the way. What do you think? Do you think there's anything important in analyzing, this?
I think like of course it's important because sometimes we think celebrities as like, special people or like gods and things like that. And when we see things like this, like what, Will and Jada is going through, we, humanize them again. And there are lessons to be learned from their relationship because it's similar to probably like a lot of couples go through. So
Yeah.
yeah, like it's important that you know this was like publicly discussed. Maybe it's not like always the best because
Mm.
it hurts those specific people and it's like a private thing, obviously, but we can learn something from it. So I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of people look up to these celebrities. I know for at least in my life, Will Smith had a lot of big, impactful movies, Independence Day. I even liked Wild Wild West. I'm going to keep it real. I was a kid when Wild Wild West came out. My favorite Will Smith movie, though, what would be my favorite Will Smith movie? The first thing that comes to my mind is I Am Legend, though. Do you have a
Yeah,
favorite?
I think that's my favorite too, but Pursuit of Happiness is also a good one. Like I cried like a baby in that movie.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel like my favorite is Pursuit of Happiness and then I Am Legend.
Yeah, definitely. But Jada Pinkett Smith movies, are there any Jada movies that we actually like? The only one I really saw was what, Set It Off? I don't even think you saw that movie. I don't know.
I didn't see that movie. I saw Girls Trip.
Mm,
I like. It's like one of my, go-to comedy movies, but yeah. Other than that, I don't think I've seen her in a movie.
yeah, yeah. So obviously Will is the more successful one, and anyway, let's just talk about this. Let's build on this. So recently, the news came out that Jada has claimed in her new memoir that her and Will have not been together for the last 7 years. Basically, they separated in 2016, and they've been living totally separate lives, but they have not officially gotten divorced. And a lot of people are scratching their heads like, huh, what? Like everywhere y'all go, y'all are holding hands, saying that your marriage is strong, bad marriage for life, all this sort of stuff. I mean, how do you interpret this news, with everything that's happened since Will had the slap and the August Alsina entanglement? And I mean, how do you look at this when she's saying this?
Well, I mean, from these news, like it's obvious to say that for the last, if this is true, if they actually have been separated for the last 7 years, then they're basically just playing the public, and they're acting like they're in a marriage and all of those things. So obviously, that's not something that's truthful. And again, once again, it makes them look like, it dehumanizes them to act like that when they're not okay. But
Hmm.
at the same time, there has been like so many different comments made by like Jada and also
Hmm.
Will as well. It's so confusing, like where they stand right now. And also, like, since they didn't announce their separation for the last 7 years, if even that was a thing, there's like a lot of business involved in their relationship. And, maybe that was like the fear of losing that business or money or their image that makes them, rich, basically.
Yeah. I mean, they're a business, right? Like when you're that popular, that famous, your brand is the business. So
Mhm.
possibly, like you said, that's a very good point that, Jada has given contradicting statements over the years, but they wanted to keep it together in the eyes of the public. I really think when the news came out, I feel like she's trying to like justify a lot of the things that have happened over the past few years, like the cheating rumors or facts that she had a relationship with a much younger man, and then Will Smith's Oscar slap. I think Jada now is at this point where she's like trying to rehabilitate her image because she gets a lot of attacks online and stuff like that. But do you think the attacks are fair? Do you think like it's fair for people to be like going at her, online and stuff?
I mean, I don't think any attacks are like fair, to be honest, unless like it's anti something, like Kanye's weird stuff that he does. Like,
Yeah.
he deserves some criticism for being anti-Semitic and whatnot. But when it comes to things like relationships, it's very personal, and um, it's also very like sensitive for that person. So I don't like approve, any attacks. But has like, is she shady? Yes.
Yeah.
I do think, like, she's a bit practiced, like her words like sound practiced and like scripted. And yeah, like I think there is a part of her that is trying to, like, cover up all of the stuff that has been out over the past few years. But it's just so interesting that like Will is not really ever addressing these type of situations. Like, I wish that like he said certain things about their relationship, because like earlier today we were looking at like him, and we read like a part of from his book, and all he talks about is like how much he was in love with Jada, and how their marriage is so great and how their family is so strong and loving and everything. And I also feel like Will is kind of like still in this fantasy world where he thinks they are married or something. Like, I mean, they are
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the reason I asked, like, do you think people are giving her a hard time unfairly is because a lot of the things that Will has done, like slapping Chris at the Oscars and stuff like that, people blame that on Jada as if he's not a grown man who can make his own decisions. I think, Will as a man should take responsibility, and I think he has taken responsibility, but
Yeah.
people are still pointing the finger at Jada, like you're abusing this man and using this man and manipulating him. But yeah, Will, like you said, I think is in this fantasy where he's willing to do whatever for his wife, wants to maintain his marriage no matter what, and it's sort of like bringing him down, but it's also sort of bringing her down because the more we watch Jada and how she moves and what she says, it makes it hard for us to trust her. It makes it hard for us to believe anything. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
They have a very interesting dynamic that we don't really see in the public eye usually, because usually if there's like these sorts of, rumors or truths like cheating and things like that, usually like one side is, guilty or blamed, and the other side claps back, especially if that's like a man. Let's say if he's a rapper or something, he writes a song about like being cheated on and that person being, unfaithful to them, or things like that. Like, that's side claps back. But with their case, it's like Jada constantly doing stuff and publicly announcing that she's doing those things, and Will is just like not giving any reactions.
Mm,
Makes it seem like Jada is abusing, but it, we don't know what's actually like going down in their personal life. We don't
right.
know their personal life. Will is like freaking out and blaming her or telling hurtful things to her and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's behind the scenes, but we can assume. And they always try to give this image that they're very public. Like Jada had that whole talk show where she had everybody going up there crying, spilling their feelings, had Will up there getting embarrassed, talking about the entanglement right in front of him, stuff like that. Like they give this impression that, oh, we're a solid unit. And like you said, Jada's doing all this stuff, and then Will is like silent about it, but then they still go out on red carpets together, do all these videos together to try to show that they're together. I would like to say though that Will does push back though. I mean, we read that story though, and he was like posting on Facebook, saying my wife and I are not getting a divorce and all that stuff. Like he did that on his Instagram and Twitter a few times. You
Yeah,
know.
he never responds to Jada. He responds to like rumors. And I don't know, maybe like you shouldn't fight with your wife in front of the public eye, especially when you're a celebrity. But that's not usually the case with celebrities like,
Mhm.
Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion and I don't know, like Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like there was that sort of like back and forth with everyone who went through something in public. But I feel like with Will Smith and Jada, it's like one sided,
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Anyway, Ed, I forgot.
Nah, it's okay. It's all right. Just to bring this back onto why this is important, like, we're on YouTube right now and we're semi public figures, but like most people in the world are public figures to some extent, right? Because everybody has an Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, something like that, right? Putting their face out there. And so like as we're a married couple and as we continue to, build on our relationship and hopefully my channel blows up and this, things build together, we might face criticism or there might be rumors about you because black men don't cheat. So if I, face rumors like that about you, I'm joking, I'm joking. But like,
Yeah.
as we're in the public eye too, we might be in the same circumstance that Will and Jada go through. And so how would we react? Do you think that we would react similar to how Jada and Will react? Like if there are people, posting stuff about us that it might be fake or absolutely false, saying, I'm cheating or you're cheating or we're outside doing this and that, or we have an open relationship or, Simon is secretly gay or, you know what I mean? Like, if there's rumors like that out there, how should we address it? Should we address it like how Jada and Will have been doing it, or should we just be quiet about it?
Um, I mean, for me, I would rather like just talk to you about it in private, and I probably would not address it. Especially like being not very famous at all right now. Like I wouldn't probably address it. I wouldn't take it seriously, but I would only address it if it comes to the point where it's like affecting our relationship. Because I feel like when you address it, it's always taking to a bunch of different like directions. And
Hmm.
there's not really like a point in addressing it. So yeah, like I feel like, if there was a rumor that, let's say, I cheated on you and I said, no, I did never cheated on Simon, I feel like, there will be people who say, oh, you're lying, da da da, and all of that stuff.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. If it makes me feel good, maybe. But for the most part, I just feel like it wouldn't make me feel any type of like it wouldn't give me validation of myself and our relationship. So I would just like not address it. What about
Right.
you?
I mean, for me, a big part of my public image is you, and I make our marriage, our relationship, a big part of how I present myself to the world because I value our relationship, and I think it's important to put that out there because I do love you and care about you, and I appreciate that you come on my platform and you're, helping me develop this media that I'm creating, and so I appreciate you for that. So if there were rumors about that, that's a big deal. That's like. Uh, Rumors about the company going bankrupt. You know what I mean? You would
Mhm.
want to know if you're working for a company and they're about to go bankrupt. Even if they're rumors, you want to know what's going on. Should I look for another
Yeah.
job? So I think, and also I try to, present a positive image out there for people to represent. So I think there's a lot of similarities between me and Will and Jada and you, because we're going to take a step back and talk about the beginning of their relationship. But I'm out here trying to promote some positivity in the world, and I also make my marriage a part of it. So if there were rumors about our marriage that was false or anything, I would like to step out there and get in front of it and clap back. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. I mean, I appreciate that. Like, to some extent, it makes me feel like I'm that you trust me and you protect me if you go out there. But I don't know, like maybe if there was a rumor that I was like doing something or cheating or anything like that, and you know it not to be true, and we know it not to be true, and if you address that saying like, she's not cheating on me and things like that, I feel like that would say more than me saying I didn't cheat. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I mean, I would probably make a joke about it, especially if it was patently false. If it was absolutely false, I probably wouldn't take it so seriously, but I would still want to make a comment, because
I
you
mean,
don't
there
want people. Go
in
ahead.
in like the in the live that we did, that the Albanians were like overloaded in the chat, and
Yeah.
this guy said like I had a Albanian boyfriend, and like he was my ex or something, and that's why I was like making you say bad things about Albania. Like, what is that comment? What is that like fantasy someone just like created out there? I was like, when I read that, I was like shocked, and it was so like unreal and so stupid that I didn't even like wanted to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a lot more of that as this channel continues to grow and people tune in and I get hate or, people don't understand my message. Of course, there's going to be that out there, but I just always want you to be strong. And, you've proven yourself to be strong because you used to read my comments, get all the hate mail, the racial slurs, all that. So I appreciate you for that. And yeah, I just want to always, I think that's why going back to the Jada and Will thing, they get out there in front of the public to make those comments, disputing people commenting on their relationship who say they're in an open marriage, they're swingers, they're getting a divorce every day. They get in front of that because I think they really truly do love each other and they want to protect each other's image in the public. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's what I think. Do you agree with that? What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely I agree with that. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't sound right. Like when Jada said like if they were swingers, she said like, "Oh, I wish," and things like that, and that what makes people think like, she's poisoning the man or something like that, or she,
Yeah. Yeah, because as it sits right now, it seems like an open marriage that was pushed for by Jada. It didn't seem like Will doesn't come across as a guy like baby, please let's do the open marriage thing just for a few months. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It seemed like Jada's the one who's like pushing Will to go into a direction he doesn't really want to go to. From the outside looking in, do you agree with that? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, but I just feel like you said, Will is an adult man, and he can also like he should be able to stand up for what he wants in a marriage or in a family, or in a relationship. So like, it's not fair to say like, oh, Jada like totally manipulated him to doing everything that
Right.
happened in a relationship. Like, I think we should also put some responsibility on Will because he's not a child.
Yeah.
He's not in his 20s dating. He's 55 years old.
Right, right. But yeah, Will's not a child, but I do think that a lot of his childhood does influence his mind. So, like, let's take a step back and talk about Will's, like, early life, because I really think that has a big impact on how he's trying to view Jada. So he's like, you said you read his biography to me, right? So, like, he's from Philly. He's
Yes, he's from
he's from,
Philadelphia, and he was raised like a Baptist, and he went to like Catholic school and things like that. And his dad was in the military, and overall, he like in at home, his dad was like super strict, and he gave Will like different things to do around the house, and kind of like like Will talks about his dad in a way that's like respectful, but also there's a little bit of fear there. So he says like our dad taught us how to like work hard to get what you want, but then he also like basically threatened them to like told them that they will die if they don't do what they should do and things like that. So it's like a very, disciplinary house that he grew up in.
Hmm. Yeah, and his father was abusive to his mother and to him.
Yeah.
Will used to do chores around the house, and he used to be very calm, but still get whoopings for no reason. And his father gave him, I guess, a very extreme way of looking at life, like do this or die. Like you will
Yeah.
succeed or die. You know what I mean? And I think that influences Will's view on marriage. If a marriage is failing, no, it cannot fail. We will die before a marriage fails. That's how Will views it. And, you know, like I said earlier, there's a lot of similarities, I think, in my view of my family because my parents have been together longer than I've been alive. They've been married 35 years or something like that, right? And I'm 33 years old. And yeah, there's been a lot of toxicity in my parents' marriage. I've been open about talking about how my dad was a serial cheater, and he was also mentally and physically abusive to my mom. And my dad is also a very hardworking man, worked multiple hours, had started his own business from the ground up. And there's a lot of that I admire from him because there's a lot of that personality in me. But also there's this drive in me to not follow kind of what he did, the worst instincts of his marriage and his relationship. And I think Will is going through that similar phase, or
Hmm.
he's been going through that phase of like fear of your father. Like I'm still scared of my dad. I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what I mean? I still don't even think I could beat him up. I don't think I could beat him up. You know what I mean? So there's that fear, but then there's also that admiration that you have for your father and the desire to do the opposite of what they did, coupled with the idea that whatever you try to do, succeed or die. I think that's putting Will in this situation. And
Yeah.
that's, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean it's different. Like his parents were divorced, but yeah, like I don't know. Of course, like for example, you gave an example from your family, and in my family, like my grandmother was divorced, my mom was divorced, and things like that. So the way I see their divorce was like, okay, you're gonna go through some really rough times in your life, but you do this for yourself because you cannot like be in this state of mind, be in this toxicity anymore. In my grandmother's case, it was violence, and in my mom's case, it was like, more of an emotional decision that she did. But yeah, like I do agree on you that like, our childhood families, especially family dynamics, affects us so much. And like same with Jada when she was a kid, her parents also divorced, and both
No,
of them
yeah,
always they never want to get divorced.
yeah,
And
yeah. Jada grew up in Baltimore. By the way, Will is like 55. Jada is like 52, and yeah, her parents divorced when they were young, and then she ended up living with her grandmother. Her mom became addicted to heroin, and she grew up in Baltimore. And if you know the U.S., Baltimore is like one of the roughest cities in America. Murders, robbery, all sorts of violent crime. And she was a drug dealer. At the same time, she was going to a performing arts high school where she met Tupac Shakur and became best friends with them. You know what I mean? And Ozzy just said Baltimore, aka be more careful. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what Baltimore is like. And so yeah, I think, you know, Jada's family life also influences how like she looks at relationships as well. She didn't see relationships work. She grew up in Baltimore. She grew up in an environment where like nobody had stable families, and then at the same time, she was also an artistic hippie kid going to a performing arts high school with this kid who was a ballerina with a funny name named Tupac Shakur. So, I think going back to what you said about your family, like how everybody, got divorced for different reasons and stuff like that. I think you were trying to say like, you go through a divorce because you have to do this for yourself, Or are you saying that you have to stay married just for yourself? I was confused by what you're saying
No, I mean, I respect like my family's decision when they got divorced because I saw that it was for themselves. Like, because after some point, you can't stay in that toxicity and you have to get out for yourself and also like for your children as well. Like, at the time, I'm sure if my mother stayed like married for some reason or somehow, um to my father, it's probably was not going to be better for me. And you know and I share that same point of view with my mom. But at the same time, of course, like you said, I have things that I want to change when I become a mother. I have things like I say, I'm not going to do this like how my mother did it.
there? Yeah,
So you
exactly.
take the goods and the bad sides, and you try to fix the bad sides
Right.
as you
Yeah,
grow.
exactly. I think everybody who gets married like us, we both look at what our parents were doing and we say we take the good and the bad and try to get rid of the bad. Unfortunately, the bad still comes with us sometimes, but we try to do the good and what we think will be better than our parents did. And all we can do is try at it. And the thing is, I spoke on my live stream a few days ago about failure and how most rappers are failures, right? But most marriages fail, unfortunately. And so we're going into this with all odds against us. You know what I mean? Like, we're from two different countries, we're two different like races or whatever. Like, we're poor. We have the whole world and the odds against us. So to make our marriage work is going to be a miracle. And any marriage actually is a miracle.
Yeah.
Most people get divorced after a few years together. So trying to make this work is definitely hard work. It's not easy, but we try to do it. And I think that's why we're hypercritical of Will and Jada, but we're also interested in Will and Jada because how do you keep it together for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, 40 years? And that's why we analyze this, and that's why it's important. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Cause like one of the things that I'm scared about, like, for our future and our marriage is that like, you know, I always ask myself, like, at some point, like after 20 years, after 30 years or whatever, like, would one side or both sides like get sick of the other one. Not sick, but like not interested anymore. Sick, yeah, like getting sick was like the bad term to use, but like just not interested, just like maybe like bored. And there's still love, but there's no like passion and spark and all of those things. Like, that's one of the things that I'm scared about. But I feel like that fear also makes me want to work on our relationship more, because I feel like you need to have some sort of, you know, fear like that to keep you going in your relationship and keep you wanting to do like, different things and talk about different topics and like, just keep the spark going, things like that. I feel
Right.
like that's one of the things that's important. But what do you think? What do you think keeps the spark alive after
Well,
20
I
years?
think I think what keeps the spark alive for you and me is just us being fire. I mean, keep it real. Since we've met, it's been a crazy journey. We met what 2.5 years ago. Ran across the world, been in all sorts of crazy situations, places, and spaces. And I don't think that's going to end. As long as you're with my crazy ass, you don't have to worry about the spark going out. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like, So
Yeah.
I feel like when if you're talking about attraction, like me being attracted to you, I don't think that's gonna fade. I'm always gonna be attracted to you, no matter what, no matter how you look, no matter how old you get. I'm gonna fade out before you. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna get older. I'm 8 years older than you right now, so wait, 9 years older right now because you're still 24.
Yes.
I'm surprised nobody roasted me about not knowing my wife's exact age last time. I'm surprised nobody lit me up in the comments about that. But I'm 9 years older than you, so by the time you're 31, I'm gonna be 40. So hopefully I can get it together. I know I need to stay in better shape because I want you to be attracted to me and like me and still find me cool, funny, sexy, handsome, all that stuff, sort of stuff. But as far as the spark, I'm not worried about that. What I worry about for the future is just me having my stuff together and making sure that I'm still able to take care of us. You know what I mean? Because that's a big, 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 big thing for me. being able to be the provider. I know you don't need a provider man because you're about to be super rich and successful and fancy. But for me, because of the failure that I went through with my first marriage, a lot of that was based on me not being able to provide. So it's something that I always hold in the back of my head. I gotta provide. I gotta provide. Even if she doesn't need me, if anything were to happen to you, I want to make sure that both of us will be okay. So that's a big thing in my mind. That's what I worry about the future because I still don't have it all the way together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I appreciate and I can see that, like, you worry about that and you think about that, and I appreciate that because like you said, even though like I might not need it in the future and things like that, I also want to like take care of you, and but at the same time it's so nice to see that sort of effort from, the person you're with. And yeah, anyway, let's go back to Will and Jada. They
All
definitely
right.
do not have a financial problem.
Yeah, they don't have a financial problem in the world, but I think financial is a big part of why Ozzy says I need a sugar mama. That's hilarious, Ozzy.
Ozzy, y'all do.
But anyway, they don't have a financial problem, but I do think finances is a big part of them not separating. We looked it up, and Will Smith has a net worth of $350 million. This man definitely does not have to work for the rest of his life. Jada got a net worth of about 50, but I'm pretty sure most of that is partially Will's net worth because keep it real, Jada has not been a major actress. She has not been in major blockbuster movies. We can't think of any real big TV shows she's been in. Let's
Yeah,
keep it real. Jada is not a super successful actress, and at this point, if they did separate, Jada would be kind of struggling, or not struggling, but lowering her lifestyle standards. Do
yeah,
you think that's a big reason, or do you think money's not a big reason? Because earlier we were talking about it. You said, yeah, money shouldn't really matter for Jada. I mean, she'll still be rich, but I don't think she can go from that mega mansion to a mini mansion or the,
yeah.
the Mercedes to the Benz. I don't know.
I was thinking that it wouldn't be such a big deal, but after seeing like how much difference there is between their like net worth, and yeah, I mean that would be like a very big change for her, and I understand her not like wanting to lower her standards, but at the same time, like if you're gonna like do some stuff and say some stuff and hurt your husband, at least on paper, that publicly, because I feel like she did hurt him a lot publicly, like damaged his image publicly, because now everybody thinks like Will is kind of a joke and he's like a sissy boy or something like. I don't if that's the right, like, if that's not very nice of me, but um yeah, like his image is still damaged, so if you're gonna do things like that, then you have to be able to face the consequences of like your financial fall, because to me it's not very, like, it doesn't have integrity when she does things like that and also wants the money and the fame and everything.
Right. I mean, at a marriage that's lasted that long for both of their careers, I wouldn't be surprised if Jada feels like, oh, I'm entitled to some of that money too. So, like, if Jada and Will did get a divorce, she'd be like, you remember, I was the one who told you to do Independence Day. Or you remember, I told you I Am Legend was going to be a hit. So, if there was that divorce, I think she would get a major payout.
Yeah.
Like, even though all the kids are grown, there would be no child support and anything like that. But I do think after some time, Jada would, lower her lifestyle, and there is a big difference in their net worth, definitely.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the beginning of their relationship. Not talking about a divorce, hypothetically. The beginning of their marriage, Will and Jada met because Will saw Jada on a TV show he was working on, right? And he liked her and then went to go to the TV show and then met his first wife, Cherie, and
Mhm.
got married to her and had kids with her, but then realized he wasn't in love with her and ended up marrying Jada.
Yeah.
I don't believe that bullshit at all. I think that's all
Okay.
cap, 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 cap. What do you think about that story?
I mean, I don't why don't you believe in it? I wanna ask that.
I think people tell that story when seriously they possibly met that person already and they were cheating on their spouse or partner then. That's what I really think happened, because the official story was that the day Will got divorced from Cherie, he calls up Jada and says, "I want to go on a date with you." Bullshit. Cap, 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 cap. Bullshit. That's all bullshit. I'm sorry, I might get demonetized. That's
No,
BS.
I mean, they said that they were like talking when he was, going through some stuff with Cherie. And then yeah, like but they never did anything like physical, and they were just like talking and things like that. So, but I mean, I don't know, like it's possible to, marry the wrong person, especially in your first marriage. And I don't know, like I really do not understand the hype about Jada, because it seems like all of the guys are falling for her, and she's like this, she's like this drug basically that no man can like give up. But yeah, I mean that might be the case. Maybe I don't like we can never know.
Yeah. I just want to say this. I want to say this. Before all of this, Jada was like considered one of the sexiest women in the '90s. She was up there with like Halle Berry, Jada Pinkett Smith, Nia Long, Sanaa whatever. She was one of them. We're not gonna disrespect Jada's name, but
Yeah, no, she looks good. Like we watched her interview today, and the whole time I was thinking, like, damn, she looks so good for her age. Like she looks good. Like even if you're considering today's younger artists, she's like natural. Maybe she does like Botox or something, but I don't know. Like overall, like she has a very beautiful, like sultry face and things like that. I
yeah.
understand that, but J Lo is very. No, wait, was it J Lo that we were joking about?
Are you talking about? I don't know what joke you're talking about. I don't know. Tell me.
Like we were joking about like a woman who couldn't keep a man, and you were saying like she must be crazy or something.
Oh yeah, definitely J Lo, J Lo, J Lo,
Yeah,
J Lo.
J Lo is also one of the sexiest women in the world, but
Right.
her romantic relationships are not really like
Yeah, sticking together. Let's
yeah.
get to some comments because the chat section's going crazy. Would you mind reading some stuff for us?
Okay. Well, let's see. JD of the Woolly said, "What's going on? No. Oh, it's hypothetical. No, no. Jada was doing Tupac at the time. Will had no chance till Pac was dead. They never did anything physical because Will Hurt hit them up one time and didn't want that smoke. Lisa Lou was the bomb back then. Halle Berry, Jessica Alba, my childhood."
Yeah, like Jada was one of them ones in the '90s. Like we're gonna
Yeah,
put respect on that. We're gonna get to Tupac real quick, but let's go back. So I think you know Will married Cherie, but then he fell out of love with her, possibly because I think Cherie was not going to be a successful actress, and I think what Will wanted was to be a top Hollywood movie star and also have like a top Hollywood girl on his arm. And I think he saw that Cherie wasn't going to do that. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
And partially, I think Will might have hindered her career because they had a baby. And you know how it is with women in work, unfortunately, when they have babies, their careers fall second. So I think that's what happened. I don't know. What do you think about what happened with Will in his first marriage? Any?
I mean, yeah, like I agree with you. There's not really much to say about it.
Yeah. All right. So then moving on, Will and Jada get married like in 1997. And Jada said, in interviews after that, that she really didn't want to get married. And she never really believed in marriage. You get what I'm saying? So, what do you think about that? Is that a good place to start? Because you and I are I believe heavily in marriage. I like being married, but I had to convince you to marry me. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
I mean, my opinion on marriage is that like it's a piece of paper, but I do believe in like lifelong, love and romantic partnership. I do believe in that. So that's what I don't like about marriage. Avery showed up.
Shout out to Avery. Would you mind reading this comment for us?
Yeah, Avery said, "What Baltimore baby mom would want Jada Pinkett or Chris Rock? Christian Rock?" Oh, topic. I don't.
Okay.
Uh, JD of the Woolly said, "You guys a good-looking couple. Good luck with you growing love."
Wow. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Avery Adams, once again. But yeah, you were saying that you don't
Yeah,
believe really. You don't believe. All right, is that your past belief, or is that how you believe
I still
now?
believe like that today. Like I feel like marrying a person kind of involves the government in our own private life, basically. Maybe that's like a conspiracy theorist type of view or something like that, but that's what I believe. But I'm not one of those people who like never wanted to get married. I just thought that at one point I would get married because of like if I didn't, paperwork is going to be so much like, harder if you have a child and things like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was never like, I'm never going to get married type of girl. But yeah, like we did kind of like, oppose in that point. But when it comes to like Jada not wanting to get married when they first got married, they still cannot, to this day, they cannot make their minds about being in the same place. Still to
Mm,
this day, Jada is saying they divorced. Will is saying they will never get divorced. And Jada, in the beginning of their relationship, Jada said, "I don't want to get married." Will said, "I want a like traditional happy family, happy life, happy wife type of like relationship." They're like never on the same page. And that was like a red flag to begin with for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They're not on the same page, and I don't think they really had that discussion. But they got married while they got married while Jada was pregnant with Jaden. So I think that might have been influencing them to rush and get the marriage too, because they were having a baby. They were going to be tied together for the rest of their life. And Will is that type of guy who's like, I want to do it different than my father did. I want to do it the right way. But do you think that's ever okay just to get married for the baby? What do you think about that?
I mean, I believe that even if you're not married, you can, or even if you're not together, you can be great parents to your children. Uh, so I don't think it's necessary to get married if you have a child. If I think it's good, it might be good to get married at that point if you do actually really see a future with that person and like romantically and not just because you have a baby. Then I feel like in normal life, most of the time, that sort of um distance between the parents translates into the child, and then the child grows up in this like loveless marriage. And I don't
Yeah,
think that's the case with Will and Jada, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think once again we have a lot of similarities with Will and Jada because you don't believe in marriage, but I do believe in marriage, and I would disagree with you on this. I think if you're gonna marry that girl and she's having your baby, like you got to try to keep it together. I'm more traditional in this view. I think marriages are good if marriages are with two people that love and respect each other. You should try to do it to keep that girl and to raise your son or daughter in a world where they see two people in the house. I think that is important. I don't think it has to always be, but if you're going to lay down with somebody and, procreate, I think you should be responsible, and responsibility can be in different ways. Of course, there are some people that should not be together, but they can be responsible parents. But if y'all lay down doing that, you need to think about that. Every time you lay down with somebody, you should be thinking about could you bring another person in this world and could you take care of that? That's how I feel, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, like, but I don't think that pregnancy maybe was planned with Jada and, Will. Maybe it was like an unplanned pregnancy. And let's see what Avery is saying. Honestly, their relationship is toxic. The only reason why Will won't divorce her is because she will take half his start a Tupac research and stem cells.
That's fire. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Listen, all right, so Tupac keeps on coming up. I wanted to save that towards the end, but let's just get Tupac out of the way. Fuck it. Let's get it out of the way. Tupac seems to be haunting Jada. And I think that's for a lot of reasons because they were not in a relationship for a long time. They were together, they were best friends, and they were doing music videos together, rapping together, singing together. And Tupac wrote poems about how much he loved Jada, but Jada never reciprocated that love romantically. And I think with her friend dying the way he did, that haunts her because it's like the one that got away. And yeah, that's how I honestly feel. Like I don't think she necessarily wants a thug dude, but it's more about that bond that they shared, being kids together, growing up in that artistic school, coming out of Baltimore. That's what I think. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think like one of the things that attracted like Jada to Tupac was that they grew up in similar environments. Maybe probably they understood each other. That like the way they grew up, it was like a bit rough from what they described, and they also shared like the similar love for arts and things like that. So, and like you said, I think the reason why she still refers to him and talks about him so much is that she always probably in her mind has like all these what ifs. Like, what if I started a relationship with Tupac? What if I got married with him? Maybe he wouldn't, have ended up the way he did. And maybe, they would still be together. Maybe she would be married to Tupac until today. And maybe she would be in a happy, marriage. So
Mm,
I think those what ifs haunt her.
hmm
And also the way like Tupac tragically died is obviously, like you said, is a trauma, and
hmm
you will never know those answers to those questions. So
We'll never know. And so much of Will's career parallels Tupac's career. I mean, Pac started off like as a rapper and an actor and an activist. He had so many different things. And Pac, a lot of people were projecting this trajectory for him that Pac was going to be a super movie star. A lot of people believe before Pac died, he just wanted to release a bunch of albums and then go do movies. And then he dies, and then the movies that were meant for Pac, like Independence Day, big blockbuster movies that would have made him a star, now Will's got them. So now Will became that guy when it should have been Pac. So I think that also rests in her mind too. Like I could have had not only the guy who understands me, but could also be the financial movie megastar that my current husband is. But he's the goody two shoes, don't curse in the house, don't curse on records guy. Meanwhile, my gangster revolutionary is past. So I
yeah,
don't.
I mean, yeah, like probably at the time, Jada thought like, okay, so I grew up in this sort of like a rough environment, and I don't want to be with, like, I want to be with someone that's kind of like that represent opposites of that. I want someone who's like, all peace, everyone, and like I want that family guy, and maybe that opposite also attracted Jada to Will. But also I want to say, like, how people say, oh, you're only like really appreciated either after you get rich or after you die. um I feel like for a long time maybe these thoughts didn't occur to Jada, and then now it's becoming like this, phenomenon on the internet. I feel like she's leaning into it more.
Very interesting theory. Very interesting. Are you trying to say like she didn't really see Tupac that way until he died? Like, and as Tupac's legend begins to grow and people begin
Maybe,
to tie them two together, now she's getting into that idea more. Is that what you're saying?
maybe like some part of me thinks that might be the case, but then again, I don't want to like judge her because it is a trauma, and it might not be that way. So yeah,
Mm.
but I don't think like this Tupac. Of course, people knew that like Jada and him had a friendship, but it didn't really like became a bunch of memes. Until like this past.
Yeah, exactly. Like growing up when I was, listening to Pac back in like the early 2000s and stuff, we didn't even think about Jada and that relationship they have. It's really that movie, the Tupac movie, and all the documentaries that came out afterwards where the people started to tie Jada and Pac more together and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But let's get to some comments.
Okay. Um. JD said she said Tupac was the only man she really loved. Avery said, I got to agree with AKDI on this one. I always thought it's supposed to be a bond between two people. I see no reason for a piece of paper. We know we married. That's what matters. Yeah, that's kind of like my point. Yeah. Ozzy said, we want prenup. And JD said, I think she's into bisexual guys, maybe. Little conspiracy.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But as far as the prenup, that's an interesting thing. I don't know if they have a prenup, and that might be a very dangerous thing for Will, because Will worked very hard to get to where he is, and no shots at Jada, but I don't think she will. I don't think she deserves half of everything he has, and California has like very strict laws when it comes to divorce. You know what I mean? I think Kanye and Kim were fighting about getting a divorce in different states because Kanye didn't want to go through that in California. That's how hard it is on men in those marriages. I don't know, but what do you think? Do you think they might have a prenup, and that's another thing?
I don't think they have a prenup because when we were reading about their lives, they got married when Jada was 22 and Will was 25. And they were at the beginning of their career, so they didn't have this net worth that they have right now. So I don't think they thought about that. And I do think like when they started their relationship, it was like real love. So maybe that caused them not to have a prenup, in my opinion.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like in terms of like, does Jada deserve half of Will's like fortune? No, I don't think so. Cause that man works hard. Like he's like always doing a project. And maybe she deserves like some, but at the same time, she's also at a place where she can provide for herself. So,
Yeah. I
I think
mean,
it should be too much of Will's fortune.
right. I mean, on one hand, I don't like to see black men work very hard and then lose all their stuff in divorces and stuff like that. But we got to keep it real. Like while Will was outside shooting 20 movies, uh, Jada was at home with his kids, taking care of his kids. So
Yeah.
there is an argument to be made that women do deserve something in a
Yeah.
divorce because women do a lot of labor for no money. You get what I'm saying? Women take care of our homes, take care of our children, unfortunately, you know, and don't get paid for that. And so there has to be some compensation for that. But that's just my opinion.
Definitely, definitely. Like there has to be some compensation, just not maybe like not the half of it, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know like how these things work, how they, calculate the worth of the, divorce and things like that. So,
Mm.
but there's definitely, I would imagine, because it's a marriage and it's like that in every marriage when like your man is working really hard, it's also like very draining for for a woman to be dealing with the kids by herself and also dealing with your husband's like frustration with work and how tired he is and how stressed he is and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's surprising we came this far in this discussion and we didn't mention the third wheel, August Alsina. August, we came this far and did not mention Mr. Entanglement himself. So, yeah, for people that don't know, August Alsina is a kind of B-list R&B singer, popular a few years ago for a few hits. But basically, he was a much younger man than Jada, and ended up in a relationship with her in around 2017. She got introduced to him through her son Jaden. That's how young August Alsina is. August Alsina was friends with her son, and then she tried to, she ended up entangled with him. And the news after this has just been weird. You know what I mean? Because August Alsina claimed that Will and Jada are in an open marriage, but Will and Jada have constantly throughout the years denied that they have been in an open marriage or they're swingers or anything like that. But August Alsina said that he had a sit down with Will, and Will gave him his blessing in 2017 to smash his wife, and then Will held Jada's ankles and you know
Stop.
all, but
Oh,
since then, there's been talk like Will gives the interview later, years later, and says, "I've never been surprised. There's been no infidelity in our relationship." But that is contradictory to the infamous Red Table Talk video where Jada sits down and says, "We were in an entanglement. I had a relationship with August, all that sorts of stuff." So I don't know. What do you think? Can we trust either of them? And do you think they are in an open relationship?
I mean, I do think like Avery said, not the ankle hold, LMAO. Bro, Simon got to chill. I know. Yeah, that was gross. But anyway, um, like I do think they might possibly be in an open relationship. Um, and that's probably like something that Jada wanted in their relationship, and Will kind of stuck to it because, like you said, he, you know, didn't want to get divorced, and he was like 100% committed in the marriage no matter what happens. And he says that in the Red Table Talk as well. So he was just like, okay, if I have to go through this like period where she's like sexually liberated, then I'm gonna like go through this period. And I guess they tried to like hide it from the public at first, but then it got all weird. And like in the August guy showed up in an award ceremony with Jada, like holding her in the small of her back and things like that. And it just looked like very like, yeah, swinger open relationship type of like thing. And I don't know, like I wished if they really did like do something like that, they would be 100% honest, because there's nothing wrong with being in an open relationship if you both agree to it. Like, you know, if that's how you feel like you want to live your relationship, then why be ashamed of it and then like tell all sorts of like, you know, lies saying like, oh no, we're not in an open relationship and things like that. And then yeah, just basically say everything else that you do, like, says that you're in an open relationship.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing about watching them is because they're not honest. Like if they're like, gay celebrities who we know are gay, but they don't want to tell anybody they're gay. You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like we know we know you guys are just swingers or open. Just be honest about it, and then we can better understand what's going on. Yeah, the internet is going to make jokes. Yeah, they're going to say, the ghost of Tupac is still smashing Jada from the back and whatever. Like, people are going to make jokes, but they have to just get over that. And the fact is, I think when Jada's talking now, like, we separated back in 2016. So that August situation, I really wasn't cheating. It's all this obfuscating and lying and trying to cover up the facts when they just can't be honest about who they are. You get what I'm saying? And
yeah.
that's the frustrating part. They are
But
definitely in an open relationship. Go ahead.
but at the same time, I feel like both of them do anything to save each other's public image. They do like anything to like support themselves in the public eye and support each other. And I feel like maybe even if this is what Jada wanted to do in their relationship, there might be a side to Will that didn't accept this fully. And also he didn't want it to be in the public eye because he felt like he would be judged, he would be like get mocked.
Yeah.
And the internet can be a very cruel place. So maybe he was scared of that backlash. He has such a good image. He's like a respectable man, a respectable actor, musician, and all of that. And maybe he was scared that this is what I would be known for if something like this comes out. And they just sort of like went back and forth with it, like Jada saying things that are pointing them, that sounds like they're in an open relationship, and Will constantly denying that they're not getting a divorce and that they're like happy and all of that stuff. So I feel
Yeah.
like Will maybe might be the one who pushed back on going public with this.
Yeah, because like you said, Will's image is respectable actor, classy man, non-threatening, and as a black man, in America, he has very carefully created this image that we haven't really seen. There's not a single black man in America that has a clean a reputation as Will Smith until the slap. Like people loved Will Smith more than Obama. Like people thought people had more hateful opinions toward Obama than Will Smith. Everybody loved Will Smith. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so yeah, as a black man to be in a relationship with a very beautiful black woman and then y'all are having open swinger relationships, that's very weird to the culture, you know? Like people would look at that very strange. And that's one of the things I think prevented Will from talking about that. But would you mind reading some comments for us?
Yeah. Avery said she deserves 35%. Ozzy said, shout out to New Orleans. Avery said, not the. Oh, wait, I read these.
A shout
Last,
out to New Orleans. I didn't see that.
yeah. The last comment is from Avery. He said, Jada turned August to turn into dating men. LOL.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't show you that, but yeah, August Alsina came out as bisexual, and now he doesn't even date women. I think he's got a whole boyfriend
And Jada
now.
says, Will loves getting cucked. Wow.
Yeah. And that's the thing that comments like that are hard to see because Will would have to go on live or do interviews. And instead of people talking about how great of a father he is and how great of a actor he is, people are going to ask, so, how's Jada? How's Jada?
Yeah,
Every time somebody would ask, how's Jada, after they announce an open relationship, you might have to swing on them. Not everybody could just fuck my wife. You get what I'm saying?
exactly. Plus, you have like your kids and your family also reading all those comments and those sort of like critics and things like that.
Right. Right. So yeah, I think there is this untruthfulness from both of them that's causing all of this harm. And it's not just untruthfulness about their open relationship. It's the untruthfulness about who they really want to be. Jada wanted to be a liberated hippie woman, probably, bouncing from guys to guy, building with them, and then eventually moving on. And
Mhm.
Will wants that one that will stay there. And also this untruthfulness with the public. They present this image, and this image is not really what it needs to be. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Avery asked, "Did you see Emancipation?"
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it first?
You can talk about it.
Yeah. So when my wife and I were in Arusha, Tanzania, we watched the movie when it came out. And I just have to say, I wasn't really that impressed. It wasn't that bad of a movie, but it was like forgettable. And if you've seen other slave movies, like 12 Years a Slave or something, you're not missing out on anything like this. And my one complaint about the movie was that it was like black and white. And I hate, modern movies in black and white unless they're done well or unless the story is compelling. And another thing I don't like is when they show like racist white people in movies being like overly racist because that's not how racism works. Like racism is like, hey, buddy, we need you out in the fields right now, like picking cotton, and if you don't, I'm gonna have to whip you. I know it's like really bad, but I would, that's that's the type of racism like I grew up with, and that actually exists in real life. And in the movie, it's just a lot of hunchback white trash crackers like being super racist, and I don't think that's a real depiction. Movie was just okay, like a 5 out of 5, 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was like a good movie, and obviously, like the story is powerful because it's like by real events. I don't know if like if yeah, that story was actually from a real person, right?
No, it is. It was.
So, like that made it like of course very powerful, but like you said, it wasn't that memorable when you compare it to like other movies with the same topic. So yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. Now King Richard was a good movie though. Did you enjoy King Richard? I really did.
I did. King Richard was fun, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what's wrong with Apple distributing the film? I don't have a Apple makes generally good content. Generally, maybe if you don't have an Apple TV, I mean, we stream everything for free. We use movies to watch, so I don't care. King Richard was very good. let everybody know. Let us know what your favorite Will Smith movies are. Put it in the chat. Favorite Will Smith movies. Right now, I Am Legend is probably the GOAT. But Last King of Scotland was okay.
I didn't.
It's an old movie with Forrest Whitaker. He plays Idi Amin. He was like an African dictator. It's a
Mhm.
pretty decent movie. But anyway, back to Will and Jada. And where were we? Where were we? So yeah, the August Alsina thing happens, and yeah, basically Will's image after that just starts to get shattered, and
Yeah.
I think that led up to the Oscar slap. And we started off the conversation with this, but after we've talked through this more, do you think Jada has any blame at all for Will doing the Oscar slap?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think that was like you know, like even after when we watched the Red Table Talk, they were like talking about the entanglement after it happened, and a couple of years passed, and it was so like hard to watch from the perspective of Will, because you know I felt like his feelings didn't really matter, and what mattered was like Jada's personal growth and personal freedom journey, like, and then Will was just like a decoration in her story, like a side character, and that was like really hard to watch for me. And they seem to be like joking about it, but then there's also like these sarcastic comments that Will makes, like, I'm gonna get back at you, things like that. Like, I can still feel that Will is like still very hurt, and I don't think he was, during that interview, was able to forgive Jada yet. And the slap was a result of all of those emotions piling up over the years. And yeah, like, and with those sort of things coming out to the public, I feel like that was like just Will Smith exploding from his the America's sweetheart and turning into like this, protective, I'm gonna keep my family together type of guy.
Mm, yeah, and we commend black men that try to keep their families together, but we have to realize that too much of a good thing can result in a bad thing. And the red. I don't think Will was hurt because of the actual cheating, because I believe August actually sat down with Will and they had an understanding. I think he was upset that it became public and it was a public embarrassment to him, not just the fact that even Jada fell in love with him. I don't even think he cared about that. I think it was just the embarrassment of it, because so much of their wealth and everything they've accumulated and the lifestyle they live is built on Will's image. And Will works super hard to maintain this image of being a respectable black man with this beautiful black family and keeping this all together, and the embarrassment was the hardest part. So when we watched the Red Table Talk, Avery said that he was embarrassed. All of us were embarrassed. Not even just black people, just men in general were embarrassed, because we know how hard it is to maintain your family and keep it together, and to see that man have to be humiliated like that, you know, because we all know Will and Jada were sleeping around. It's just the fact that she did it with a public person. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, but I think Will only slept around with people because he saw that Jada really wanted to like be open and maybe have an affair, or maybe like be in an open relationship. And it was like, I think he said to himself, like, she wants this and I want to keep my marriage. So if we're going to go through this, we'll go through this together. And obviously, like, she's with this guy and she's like sexually involved with this guy and romantically involved with him. So I guess for the time being, I'll be like involved with other women as well.
Right. No,
And I,
there have been a lot of rumors of Will sleeping around and getting
yeah,
around. Go ahead.
and like he obviously at this point it's like justified if he did that, because Jada was doing the same thing. And I just feel like Will did it because that was like the most normal thing he could do while keeping his marriage together and not being divorced. So like I think, yes, all of this becoming public hurt him a lot. But I also think the whole situation, even though he might have agreed to do it, hurt him a lot too. And he only agreed to do it just to keep his marriage intact.
Absolutely.
And that's
No,
why I said like he didn't forgive Jada yet.
yeah, no, absolutely. We said that at the beginning, but I agree with that 1,000%. He's upset about it being public, but he's also upset that he's even in this situation
Yeah.
because, we said before, Jada seems to be the one pulling them that way. You know, he got a wild woman. He has a woman who's wild and she wants to be free, and he's trying to tame her. He's been trying to tame her for years, honestly. And I'm not trying to say this to compare it to an animal, but I'm just saying like she is a free spirited person, and Will is more brick and mortar, more traditional.
Yeah.
And they're finding it hard to keep the phoenix in the cage. And that's the thing. And when it comes to this situation with Chris Rock's, no, Jada said in her memoir that Chris Rock tried to holler at her before the slap when there were rumors constantly that Will and Jada were breaking up. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any truth in that Chris tried to holler at Jada?
I mean, I don't know because it's hard because August was supposed to be like a family friend, right? And they were talking about it in their table talk. The first time he came into the family, he was like sick and they were helping him with his illness and things like that. And then he ended up being Jada's side chick, side dude. So yeah, like, and then Chris has been friends with Will also.
And
So
Jada, they've been family friends.
yeah, like they're family friends too, but it then you that's the hard thing about being in an open relationship. Like then all of your friends sort of have a pass to holla at your wife. Now, do I think Chris Rock is a person who would do that? Just from looking from outside, I don't get those vibes from him, but then I can never know cuz celebrities do also have like weird stuff that they do and fantasize about, so, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think the number one thing about Hollywood is everybody sleeping with the same five people. It's a closed little incestuous group. I'm gonna read some comments real quick. So, Pursuit of Happiness is easily Will's best film, performance-wise, but Fresh Prince will always be goated. Pursuit of Happiness is definitely, I think, Oscar-worthy. But King Richard, I think, had a very powerful performance as well, possibly even better than Pursuit of Happiness, in my opinion. What do you think, Pursuit of Happiness or King Richard?
I said before at the beginning of the live chat, Pursuit of Happiness is my personal favorite because I love it. But yeah, I think like King Richard was also really good.
All right. And then Avery Adams said, LOL, Jada is a Virgo like us. Let's cut her some slack. Interesting that you remembered my sign. I don't feel like I talk about my sign all the time, but shout out for remembering, I guess. But Jada's a Virgo, but so is Will. They were born in the same month, I think, or the same time that you could be a Virgo. So Virgo energy all around. I don't know what that means, but this is a lot of Virgo energy talk. but
I can see the Virgo in Jada, and you also have this quality too. Like maybe not all Virgos, but you guys have your ways with words, and you do know how to like persuade people, and if you
mm,
do, maybe like even manipulate people. Bad way, but I can.
mm,
That's like a little bit of like Virgo ness for me,
right.
being with a Virgo myself.
Okay. Well, thank you. But speaking of manipulation, I want to talk about the Chris Rock thing and, basically Jada saying that Chris Rock tried to holler before Will slapped him. I think that's total manipulation. I don't believe anything that comes out of Jada's mouth, and I only believe a little of what comes out of Will's mouth. Because Jada has proven to contradict herself over the years.
Yeah,
They come out on the red carpets and all this sort of stuff after August Alsina, and she's doing interviews talking about how they're trying to keep the marriage alive and the spark alive and that sort of stuff. And she's never out there publicly denying or letting the world know that they're not together. And then Will is, lying, saying that he didn't meet August, but she's saying this stuff that Chris tried to holler just because she wants to make herself look better, alleviate some of that guilt, and also to protect Will a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh, how could you slap little tiny Chris Rock who never hurt anybody and that sort of thing. So she wants to try to give more context. But
Mm.
this is if this was actually true, this would have been known. I think people would have heard about this story before. But
And
she's just letting it all out. Go ahead.
also, like, it would be very dumb for Chris to initiate something like that because he knows that they're like very public with their relationship, and like, it would basically be like crazy if he really tried to do something like this, because that would be like insanely public sort of, scandal.
Mm-hmm.
It would
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
be very bad for his own image.
Yeah. And they're both public people. Like, there's no way they could go out on a date. They can't go to Red Lobster together without people knowing, hey, that's Jada Pinkett and Chris Rock over there. Like,
Yeah.
and, I don't know. But we only have a few more minutes left on this live. So let's just do this. Let's pick a side and argue for the sake of it. So what we're gonna argue is this
Wait,
relationship, huh?
before that, I want to ask you a question
Oh,
about
go ahead.
relationship. So, in the last interview that Jada had, she said that they've been broken up since 2016, but she never had Simon.
Yeah. I'm here. I got a phone call. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your video is not here.
Oh
Like,
wow, that's crazy. I don't know what to do about that. Crazy. Oh man, I got a phone call, but then I ignored it, and then now I'm stuck. You can still hear me though on the live?
I can't hear you. I can't see you.
Like the video is gone.
Yeah, it's like black.
That's crazy. I don't know what to do. Let me. Damn, can anybody hear me or see me? Damn, we were just about to get to the good part.
We can hear you. I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, let's just do it. Let's just do it. You only have a few. Go ahead.
Okay, anyways, so yeah, my question is that like Jada always said like, oh, she never had the guts to initiate a divorce and things like that. And but they've been separated for 7 years, right?
Hmm.
So, do you think like did they get a divorce? Like, is it wrong that they're just like dragging this stuff?
That's why I was gonna ask, or that's why I was gonna argue. This
Okay.
relationship is goals because they are remaining married. Their family has not been affected. Jaden, Willow, Trey, everybody seems to be happy. They seem to have a good relationship aside from the public getting in their business and making them memes. So that's why I was going to argue that maybe this relationship is goals for the fact that they have this understanding, and just because of the public scrutiny, they cause drama. But if Will wants to be in it, nobody's forcing him. Nobody's forcing Will to be in this relationship other than himself. Jada has all the power in the world to leave the relationship too, and she can't break the promise. So there has to be true love there. That's a true understanding. And maybe if it's not the type of marriage that I want or other people imagine a marriage should be, this might be the type of true love that everybody's talking about. Maybe they do have the absolute truest form of love because it's not even about romance. It's not even about sex anymore. It's about we have a bond and an understanding. So I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not one of those people who are like, you know, no matter what happens to me, I'm never, never, ever, ever, ever gonna get divorced. Obviously, I'm not pro divorce. Like, I'm ready to fight for my relationship. Like, I'm not saying, oh, with any inconvenience, just walk out the door. Obviously, not that. Because the reason I got married to you is obviously because I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and I will do everything that I have to, make that happen. But at the same time, if if it happens that I'm not like good for myself and good to me or good to you, then I do think like divorce should be something that should be considered. And I don't
Mhm.
really see the point of hurting each other more, because I feel like there are still things that they could do, that they could hurt each other, and what's going to be left after all of this time? Obviously, yes, they do have a lot of love for each other, but is that love still going to be there if they keep on, like, you know, hurting each other? At least I feel like Will is being hurt in this situation.
Hmm. No, that's a very good point. There's a good argument to make that Will is hurting himself because he's literally hurting other people. And before we did this, we hopped on a video and we saw a video of Will talking about he smacked Jada over the head with the newspaper because she cursed him out. So
Yeah.
yeah, there is some toxicity in this relationship, but I cannot say that they are fully hurting each other, because if they were truly hurting each other, and this might sound contradictory because there are people who are in abusive relationships right now and they say, I don't he's not hurting me, we fight that way. But let's keep it real. They are in a situation where they can't be honest with the public, and that's causing problems, but that's not toxicity in itself, because everybody deserves privacy in their relationship. So if they're happy and they're really not being hurt by each other because they have an understanding, I can't call this a toxic relationship. And, you know, everybody has their limits on when to stay in a relationship and when to get divorced. They obviously have not reached that limit, and both of them have come to understand. Jada didn't want to get married, but she did it because she loved this man. Will didn't want to have to hold her hair while, she gave August Alsina some sloppy toppy, but he did it because he loves her. They've made marriage something beyond what we even know. It's celestial.
I understand, but is that like such a is that a good thing to do? Like, just tear yourself apart and change yourself for another person? Because you can still love that person and choose not to be with them. Just because you get a divorce, it doesn't mean you don't have love for that person. They could get a divorce today and still be friends and still be family, because they have like kids together and they have love for each other. But that doesn't come with like marriage. Love can still be there, and they basically like friend zone, like Jada friend zone, you know, Will, basically, in the past few years, like since August thing happened.
But
And I don't know, now their marriage just seems like two friends living in the same house, and they're not even living in the same house.
no, think about this. There's no way that marriage won't get there's no way that divorce won't get nasty. They could be the best of friends right now. They could even say that they're totally back in love with each other, but they want to get a divorce. That type of high level, high net worth celebrity divorce would get so nasty they would hate each other. So I think it's
Then,
very possible. Uh-huh.
well, if it's gonna get nasty with the divorce, then was there ever true love between them? Was it just like all about the money talk?
No, no, actually, there's love right now between you and me.
Yeah.
But if for some reason we're fighting over I don't know, some personal property item. If you and I get in a fight over the car, who gets to drive the car today? We only have one car, and we get into a big fight about it. You can't say, "Oh, we don't love each other because we had a fight over the car." Property and that sort of stuff can make it very nasty, especially when we're talking about money and wealth. So I think, if they've calculated, if we get this divorce, we might end up mortal enemies, because of the financial aspect of it. That's what I really think, honestly.
I mean, but yeah, maybe normal people, because most of the time when somebody's paying child support or settlement and things like that, it's like it really is rough for them. But it's not really rough for them. They have like all the money in the world. Like, I feel like money shouldn't be something to fight over when you're at a certain wealth. And if they really really love each other, and they can love each other through infidelity and cheating and slapping people, violence and all of that, then they should also be able to give that love and respect to each other. through their divorce, even if it involves like financial things.
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like if anything like that happened to us, I would not get nasty with you over money.
No, I think you overestimate human greed and what people see as necessities. Because, like, listen, they own multiple homes, but Jada might say, I want that home, the one in Calabasas. And Will might be like, yo, that's my home. Like, I really remember getting that $10 million check and dropping it off there. And, we've had great moments there. Why do you want that home specifically? Let me have that home. Like, people get real personal over their property and that sort of thing. And I think, while you might say, oh, they have all the money in the world, you'll be surprised the level of human greed. There are people who have made millions of dollars and they continue to want more and more and more. That's why Will's still doing the movies. That's why everybody's still working, trying to make $1 billion, if not 1 billion, 2 billion. So I think there's no limit to human greed, and people get petty over property. So that's what I think. Honestly, that's why it's not a toxic relationship. It's actually a beautiful thing that everybody should strive for. Everybody should have Will and Jada's relationship.
Wow. Let me read the comments. Avery said, I don't believe in a divorce. We both going to leave this earth together. Once I choose one person, that's if we both try our hardest and never give up. There's no reason for it. We can get back together, he said also. And then Ozzy said, what if your spouse cheated on you, Avery? And Avery said, this is based on morals and values. You take nothing with you when you die. Why care who has what? Just make it back.
Yeah. No, they're all making good points. I'd be very interested to hear what Avery says to Ozzy. Because
Yeah.
yeah, cheating is a deal breaker for a lot of people. So
That's why I said, like, if they can get over the cheating and, all of those, like, violence to his friends, um, they should be able to get over this. Because honestly, like, I've seen how ugly divorce can get because my mother like always almost went through a divorce and actually with her husband now they decided to stay married on paper. So I understand how that could be, but at the same time, even the relationship, to be honest, feels toxic to me. I don't see the point. If you're not living together, you might have love for each other, but that just like creates more drama for me if you want to be with other people. And obviously, in this case, Jada looks like she wants to be with other people, and maybe Will does too.
right, right, and yeah, absolutely. They're in this space right now where they're just I guess because we're on the outside looking in. And by the way, the only person saying that they're separated is Jada. So once again, this might be a manipulative tactic she's using to get whatever she wants in this case, or to make herself feel better or explain away some of her faults or insecurities, right? So I think this is a very complicated situation. And you said it, very interesting. I forgot about that point that your
Yeah,
mom and your stepfather are in this very same situation,
yeah,
and you said it's toxic. So i think I think it can be toxic, because if they're like that, then that is a bad situation to be in, where they're barely speaking, where they insult each other, they don't think highly of each other. Yeah, but I think Will and Jada think highly of each other. They're respectful towards each other. Obviously the kids love both of them.
yeah.
They give that impression that the family is strong. So I think this is actually, you know, it's a healthy relationship, minus the fact they're celebrities. If they weren't celebrities, this would be a much easier time for them, honestly.
I just want to say something. Jada, you said like Jada is the only one that said that they're separated
Hmm.
or they've been separated. Yeah, like also I just want to say I don't want to put this all on Jada because I feel like Will is a little delusional about the whole situation. Maybe that's because like he's hoping that Jada will like come back to him eventually, like when she's older and they're gonna grow old and sit on the porch and stuff like that. So I feel like Will is also like having a hard time to face the truth because
Yeah.
yeah, like watching their interview, it sounded like Jada was saying like we were done, and Will is saying like we were on a break or something like that. Like he's not like fully comprehending what is happening in his marriage, and he sounds very delusional, like he's lying.
Yeah. But they're both kind of delusional. I mean, Jada is delusional in thinking that this man that she's been spending this much time with actually really enjoys this. I think she sincerely believes that Will is in this with her because he has not pushed back against her. And
Yeah,
so, because Will has not shown any resistance to the move she's making, she might sincerely believe, yo, Will likes our open relationship thing. Will sat down and talked to August because he really loves me and he's in this too. And Will has slept with other people too. So maybe he likes this arrangement too. And, they're both delusional in a way. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. Ozzy answered. Sorry, Avery answered Ozzy's question. He said about the cheating. He said, "This is a deal breaker, but honestly, I would look past it. But I would do everything in my power to choose the right person and not ignore any red flags early on." And then he also said, "This is the thing with Will Smith, would never get her back. He's not that type of guy to hold down his family properly. Money ain't everything. Property, maybe he's trying to say, I don't know. Anyway, money ain't everything. You have to be a man, and Will Smith is not one." Damn.
Damn. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. This was a very interesting talk. I enjoyed this a lot. Did you?
Yeah, yeah, it is very interesting. And obviously there's no like 100% right or wrong in a relationship. Whatever we say about, Will and Jada, they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can't really judge them on knowing what we know, because
Yeah.
there's more to every story.
Right. And yeah, I mean, as a married couple, you and me are going to go through ups and downs, and we've been through ups and downs, and everybody should be learning from other marriages because, like we said at the beginning of the live, most marriages don't last even as long as ours have as has lasted. And every day we have to like build on it and try to get better at it and learn from other people, our parents, celebrities, people we talk to. We have to fight back against some of our worst urges and continue to grow and develop as people. And I want to say I love you, Acti, so much. I'm so glad you married me, and we are never ever getting in any entanglements. I swear to God, if you get in an entanglement, nah, I'm gonna untangle everybody.
Wow. I love you too, and I won't get in an entanglement, I promise.
All right.
Avery's saying bye to us. He has a meeting at 1, so he has to leave. And he says, "Stay blessed to both of you and see you next time."
All right.
Stay
God
blessed.
bless all of y'all. Thank you for coming in. We do these daily lives at whenever o'clock. Turn on notifications. All right. Peace.
Bye.